Hello, today I shall talk about 6 steps to happiness. I shall speak in broad terms. In future videos, I often go into specific details on how to secure happiness. Now it's a lovely day out, so I thought it'd be rather nice if we went for a walk in the countryside. I thought we could go to Grasmere in the Lake District. See you there. Hello, so about to enter Grasmere Village. This is a lovely place in the Lake District. So let's think of this as perhaps meditation in motion. So to meditate, to calm the mind, you don't need to be sitting in the lotus position alone in that room for 15 minutes or more. You can simply just be quietly walking about, just absorbing the present moment. So if we think of the word present, it has that meaning of now, doesn't it? The present, the now, but it also present is a gift. So we should think of the present moment as being a gift. So we would just cross this bridge. It's a nice peaceful river. And there's a path that leads to the village. So we should be in the village very, very shortly. Here we are in Grasmere Village proper. You can see that many of the buildings are made of this beautiful slate. It's very characteristic of the village. So we'll just take a little gentle walk down into some more central parts of the village. This is St Oswald's Church. William Wordsworth and his family are buried in the graveyard. Let's now leave the village and make our way to Grasmere Lake to talk about happiness. So I've walked out of Grasmere Village Centre and down to the lake. So you can see the lake behind me. It's a beautiful lake. So I'm going to walk around the lake. It's a reasonably easy walk. And talk about happiness. So 6 steps to happiness. Now I think the first step is to define what we mean by happiness. Now many people define happiness in terms of what makes them happy. So they'll say, if I win £10 million on the national lottery, I'll be happy. If I eat a delicious dessert in a nice restaurant, I'll be happy. But these are things making us happy, not actually telling us what is happiness. Certainly, pleasure is a component of happiness, although you can have too much of a good thing. Let's say it's a hot sunny day. You want a glass of water, cold, refreshing glass of water. So you drink 1 glass, very nice. You drink 2 glasses, okay, still quite pleasant. 3 glasses, feeling all right now. 4 glasses, starting to feel sick. 5 glasses, oh, it's too much. Now, I would like to suggest that happiness is a deep sense of satisfaction in life. Life itself is pleasant. Now, there will be unpleasant days. But on these unpleasant days, we still feel this sense of satisfaction, that life is still good. So why define happiness in terms of our inner sanctum? our inner centre of calmness? Well, because it brings happiness under our control. A recurring theme in these videos will be the Stoic principle that some things are within our control and some things are outside of our control. If we place our happiness in external things, we can be let down. You know, we may win the national lottery, but we may not. It's out of our control. Yes, we have to buy a ticket, but having bought a ticket, no guarantees, and in fact the odds are rather against us. We go to a nice fancy restaurant, order the dessert, the chef was having a bad day. Yes, you can get a refund perhaps, but you're let down. So it's advisable not to place our happiness in external things. If we place our happiness in our centre of calmness, then it helps to bring it under our control. Step 2 is to allow yourself to be happy. Do you want to be happy? This sounds a strange question. The knee-jerk reaction is, of course I want to be happy. But are you allowing yourself to be happy? You know the expression, misery likes company. So some people form a circle of friends who seem to reinforce negative thinking. It's not quite making each other unhappy, but that circle of friends is not really bringing out the best in you, shall we say. That circle of friends sounds more like a cage, caging you in. So you have to be careful. If you do have such a cage of friends, perhaps you need to reflect and try to encourage one another. Try to break that vicious circle of talking about how unhappy everybody is. Now, some people have perhaps a psychological block about being happy. They feel they don't deserve to be happy. Everybody deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves happiness. You should allow happiness to follow you like a shadow. You cannot shake it off. So it's this unshakable inner feeling, this deep sense of satisfaction and finding life pleasant, which needs to become an integral part of you. Step 3 is to encourage happiness. Happiness should be something which, yes, you seek and you want a sense of accomplishment in achieving it. But on the other hand, we have to be careful. We can't guarantee happiness. So think about going to sleep at night. Let's say you're restless, you can't get to sleep. If you lie there thinking to yourself, I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to go to sleep. That act of, I'm going to go to sleep, thinking that keeps you awake. It's self-defeating. So, although we are placing a certain importance on achieving happiness, we are not going to overly dwell on it. We're going to allow it to naturally come to us. Like I said in the earlier step, that happiness should follow you like a shadow. You don't have to consciously think, at least not all the time, about the shadow following you. Allow it to happen. Now, there are certain practical techniques to encourage happiness, to increase the probability that happiness will happen to you. And those are things that we will discuss in future videos. Now, step 4, remove obstacles. There are several obstacles which we need to overcome to encourage happiness. So, speaking in broad terms, One obstacle is loneliness. We are social creatures. This is why solitary confinement is considered to be such a punishment. We need to have friends, we need to have a network, we need to have a sense of community. Absent these things doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be unhappy, but it definitely increases the probability. A second major obstacle to happiness is finances, or the lack of them. I mean, I'm assuming you haven't won £10 million on the National Lottery. And one of the reasons that finance presents such an obstacle is because it drains us of energy. If we have problems with our finances, often we're constantly worrying. Got to pay this bill, got to pay that bill. It just exhausts us. And we have less time for that reflection, less time for that building of the inner sanctum. So, need to sort out finances. Another obstacle is physical health. If we have some condition, especially if we are in considerable pain, then our minds are distracted and it's more difficult to be happy. Doesn't mean we can't be happy even though we have an illness or a condition, but it makes it more of a struggle. And relatedly, mental health. So if you suffer from a condition such as depression, I mean, almost by definition, perhaps you're not happy. This is why I highly recommend going for walks if you're able to, especially in the countryside. There are many studies that show that going walking, say for half an hour a day in the countryside for 8 weeks, is more effective than many antidepressant treatments, especially taking pills. Or if you are taking pills, the exercise of walking helps to improve the efficacy of those pills. Step 5 is to manage expectations. If you've been unhappy for a long time, can't expect to be happy overnight. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And don't expect to be happy all the time. That's unrealistic. The only person who has a permanent smile on their face is the Joker in the Batman movies, and you don't want to be like him. I think the Greek philosopher Aristotle said it quite well. So Aristotle said, "For as it is not one swallow or one fine day that makes a spring, so it is not one day or a short time that makes a man blessed and happy." Also, part of managing expectations is to avoid comparing yourself. Particularly in this day and age of social media, where you have people living perfect lives, going on exotic destinations, and you think, oh, what a perfect life. I should be like that. Why am I not like that? Actually, nobody leads a perfect life like that. In fact, if anything, the simpler our needs, the more we can be happy. So again, referring to some ancient Greek philosophers, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "The things you really need are few and easy to come by. But the things you can imagine you need are infinite, and you'll never be satisfied." We do need a little bit of stress in our lives to help motivate us. In fact, there's a special word for this, eustress. What a delightful word. So, we need to manage our expectations. And finally, step 6 is do it now. Time marches on. Don't procrastinate. You're watching this video, that's one step. So each day have a little victory in this journey to your happiness. What would make me happy is if you would subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.